I am Hans and this is my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Today we're going to take a final tour of the van to make this as interesting as possible. So let's take a look at it right now. Let's go! So back in 2006 when they made this van, Dodge and Mercedes were the same company basically. So this says Dodge on the outside, but it has a Mercedes drivetrain. So it's got the 5-cylinder diesel. And this is something that didn't really come stock, but we have got all kinds of really cool stuff. It didn't have a sink in it, and didn't have this little bench, didn't have a bunch of garbage laying on the bed that's supposed to be like hidden. It's really shady where it's sitting, so we're gonna go ahead and turn on some lights. There we go. And that is going to be, oops, for those lights right there. And then we can come back here and there's more lights back here in the bedding area. If we turn this guy on, that'll turn on my water pump and get all these things going. There's that, something is on. There's the water for the shower, hot water. You can see it getting hot. $95 feels pretty good. So we've got dimmable lights up here, the Insta-Hot's right there. That will also work with the sink right here. We went with a butcher block countertop on here. So we just pop this guy out. You got your full sink right there. This has got running water. You got the 2 different modes, and when you have it on hot, it's pulling the heat off of the Insta-Hot in here and giving it to the sink here. Soap, you gotta have a soap dispenser, don't forget that. We have one of those. We do have carbon monoxide and smoke, just in case something bad happens, it'll wake us up. We've got reading lights back in here, so both sides I've got reading lights so that if you're in bed and you need a little light, or you have all these lights shut off, it gives you just a little bit of light so you don't trip if you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And a lot of people will close this part off. I do want to show you, I have another outlet here with another USB, so if we're laying in bed up here, we want to charge our phones, we can plug in a USB right there, or whatever else we need to. What I was saying is a lot of people will put a wall here and they'll block this off, but I really wanted to be able to access this from inside as well. When I set out to build this van, I really wanted a couple of things. There was just some things that I wasn't going to do without. One of them was a shower. This thing is so long, there's no reason not to have a shower. If you're going to have a shower, you might as well put a toilet in the shower room, so you've got a toilet and a shower. And I wanted hot water. I didn't want to like miss something like, oh man, I wish that I would have put hot water in here. I wish I would have, and it really didn't add that much expense. This Gasland thing was $120. So that was really all I had to add besides a little bit more PEX and some fittings. So probably, let's call it $150 more. I got hot water in my sink and I get a hot shower in the morning, which is priceless. So seemed really worth it to me to do it that way. It did take a long time to put this together. The ceilings were really a big thing. I didn't want to have the shiplap. I see a bunch of these guys with seams in these things, and I was like, I'm not doing the tongue and groove. I'm gonna find something else. But look what happened. Tongue and groove. But I found these in 16-foot lengths, so I was able to actually get them to go this whole length and have, you know, 4 or 5 inches left over. So it worked out really well. No seams, that was the biggest thing. So I don't have any seams. I needed to have a lot of storage. I didn't want to be without, like, oh crap, I wish I would have added more storage, but I didn't do that. I've got plenty of storage back here, underneath here, lots and lots of storage. In this cabinet right here, lots of storage. Above the sink, lots of storage. Under the sink, lots of storage. On them were really cheap, so I took them off and I put on, you can see them from here, these really nice slides. think they're rated to like 300 pounds or something like that. Way overkill. I got my butcher block countertop, which I really wanted, and that acts as a really nice workspace as well. I flip the seat around, easy, just turn that thing around, plug in my laptop, and I can be working in no time. The sink, just being able to access it, wash fruit, do whatever, but also being able to close this thing up. And another big thing is the lights. I wanted to make sure that we had plenty of light. I made them dimmable so that I could turn them down without any problems, because I was worried I was putting too many in, but it actually works out that this is just about the perfect amount of light. If you are using these little pucks, you can tell how many I've got here. I've got 4 just in this little area that's probably 5 feet right here. And then I've got 4 in the bed area, which is, you know, that's much larger, but you don't need as much light there, especially with the reading lights. And then I put 3 kind of down the hallway area here. So I wanted to have them offset this way more, so if you're sitting on that bench, you get a little more light. And you got 2 lights inside the shower, which are dimmable as well, in case you need a little mood in the shower. So we have 2 fans, this guy, and then we have this one right back here that is controlled either at the fan or by this. So I can power this thing on. I'll take you back here, you can actually see it powering up, and it lifts up and it starts going. So we have a nice little fan there. Come back over here, you got all these controls. I'm just gonna turn it off. This is my heater control right here for my diesel heater that I have underneath the seat right here. This works really well. So the must-haves, let's just run down that list really quick. The swivel seats here, had to have them. Cabinets up here, had to have them. Sink with hot water, had to have it. Storage, got it. Shower, had to have it. Toilet, had to have it. Hot water, again, in the shower, had to have it. More storage. Super comfortable bed right at the height of the windows, so that when I wake up in the morning and I'm camping out, I get to wake up wherever I'm camping. And you say, well, what if people can see in? And the only time people can really see in here is if I have the lights on the inside and it's dark outside. Otherwise, even though the lights are on right now, you can't see in the van. The windows are tinted just enough, and especially with those back doors open, you could kind of see this way, but you can't really see inside the van. If I was going to do this again, I might tint them a little darker, but I'm pretty happy with them the way that they are. We've got all those window shades that will cover up everything, and I would rather have to cover them up than not have the view. If I bought a van that didn't have any windows in it, yeah, I don't think so. The next one I do is gonna also have windows in it for sure. This is a 2006 Sprinter van, so this is what the front of it looks like. And it does run and drive really well. I have personally driven this thing to Eugene, to Corvallis, to the Oregon coast, up to Mount Bachelor, out to Elk Lake. We've driven it all over the place here in Oregon, and it runs and drives really well. It's actually a really nice running rig. It does have a lot of miles on it, but it was really well maintained. When I was building this, it was in the winter time, so it snowed a bunch. I got all kinds of setbacks because of the snow. So it snowed, and then it would just like get cold and be cold for a long time. The first thing I put in here was this diesel heater. So this little guy is the vent. Behind here, underneath this seat, there's a little diesel heater that's run off of this fuel tank right here. And this is the controller for it right here. So if I powered this on right now, we'll just do it. Let's turn it on. Let's heat it up. You can see that it's going to give you these little signs that it's turning on and warming up. And then it's going to go ahead through its process. It's a little bit hard to explain, but it's like a turbine engine, like a jet engine almost. So it kind of just burns a really small amount of fuel, and it's just creating a heat that will come out of that thing, and it pushes it out like a jet too. If it's cold, and the temperature drops in here, that thing will crank on and it'll just get this place super, super hot, super, super fast. Here it goes. So right now that is blowing out some pretty warm air. But you can see it's not really loud. So once it's warmed up too, it stops and it'll throttle itself down. So it's not always blowing that hard. But it gets really quiet, and then it'll just kind of maintain the temperature in here. When I was working in here in the winter time, I could get in here and close the doors even before I insulated, and it would keep this thing super warm. I'd still be sweating in here. So, and then we'll go ahead and power this off just by pressing this and holding it, and it'll say off. And it's pretty warm today anyways, but that thing is cranking out some hot air. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the solar, and the solar that we've got up there is 400 watts. We've got the 2 fans and the 400 watts that we put on the roof. And I haven't had this thing go below 11 volts. Actually, I don't even think it's gone below 12 volts that I've noticed. And I've been checking and I kind of watch it. Even on a day like today, it's definitely sunny, but it's kind of overcast a little bit. These things will be fully charged in about an hour, even after I'm in here messing with everything and turning on all the power and all that stuff. It'll be back to full charge in about an hour. The only reason it's at 13.1 right now is just because we turned everything on and we fired up the heater and blah, blah, blah. Also, it was sitting overnight. The sun just came up, so it didn't have any power overnight. But usually if I was to come out here and check on it by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, it's still at 14.1, which is fully charged. I got the Battleborn batteries, which I made that decision. I'm going to spend the money on the batteries because that's going to be the most important part besides the solar panels. Solar panels are getting super cheap. The Battleborn batteries are not, but I don't know, it doesn't matter. I really wanted to get those ones. They have a really good reputation so far. They haven't let me down. They have a lot of safety built into them, and being that they're right underneath the bed, that's really important to me too. So in case something happens, they'll just shut themselves down. We have got our solar system here. So we've got an inverter here that is going to be 120 volts. There it is. Whoa, 122. We've got our charge controller, which is at 13.6, and we've got our 2 Battleborn batteries. So now we have on this outlet right here, we've got 120 going to that. We've got a USB right next to it. I've got another one right here. So there are 2 outlets in the back. I'm pretty happy with them so far. They've been working for about 6 months right now. And if I had it to do over again, I would do it again for sure. The other components of the solar system, the charge controller, DC to DC, I've got a little Bluetooth thing so I can get on my phone and check out the system, see what it's doing. All those little components weren't nearly as expensive as I thought they were going to be. So it turned out to be a lot less expensive than I was thinking it might. It was way less complicated to actually put it together than I thought it would be. But I'm really happy with this van. I gotta tell you, I'm excited to do another one. I went ahead and built this so that it could be used as kind of a weekend warrior thing. It's not something you're gonna live in. You could live in this thing all year round actually, but that's not why I built it. I built it so my wife and I could go skiing in it and stay up at Bachelor overnight, go out to the lake and stay overnight, not have to worry about hooking up a trailer and finding a big camp spot. This thing, you can pretty much find a spot to camp anywhere. Even though this is the long version, I don't ever have a problem finding a place to park. I can always find parallel parking and take up 1.5 spots or something, or in a parking lot in a grocery store, you just go towards the back and there's always a spot there. I like having the long version, but it doesn't feel like it. If you've driven a long one and a short one when you're driving, either one of them, they don't feel that long. Don't worry about that part. They don't, that's not a big deal. So that's the Sprinter van. I hope you guys liked it. If you do like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button if you want to see more content like this. And you will see me in the next video. Let's go!